right, hello friends, friends of the FireTruck Camper Project. Today's project is going to be putting this material here, which is acrylic sunlight, it's called. Sunlight. It's acrylic sort of board that's got these air channels in it, and I'm going to put that below the solar panel that I'm putting on here, which is a CIGS panel, which is one of those very durable, walkable, drive-on-toppable, apparently, solar panels that it doesn't really need an air gap underneath it, but I want to kind of put a little something underneath. So I'm just going to do this section here that's outlined in blue tape, and I'm going to lay down a coat of epoxy on this. I've already sanded it, and first I washed it with water, then I sanded it, then I wiped it off again, and then I isopropyl alcohol. I'll probably do another wipe down of isopropyl to get it ready for the epoxy, and then I'm just going to coat this whole perimeter inside the blue tape with epoxy, and then use these bricks to weight down the board so that it sticks sufficiently. So that's the first step, and actually it's just the next step. There have been several before this, which I may go to now and just give you a little history on the planning for this idea to have a roof box that takes up, because it's one footprint, and I figured, like, well, if I can put a solar panel on top of that roof box, then I can get two birds, one stone, two functions, one footprint space on top of the camper or the cab. So that was the vision behind this. I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be pretty stylish. So anyways, thanks for being here. Maybe we'll go to some history now. And now, history of the rooftop box with a solar panel on top story. All right, I'm going to try to explain this as quickly as possible. This is a CIGS Bouge 200 watt solar panel that is on top of this Packasport roof box, and it just doesn't fit quite. It's got this little bit of overhang that's going to be flapping in the breeze if I don't do something about it. So I have traced out using cardboard templates and then a jigsaw and cut those templates out of 1/8 inch plywood, and I've now kind of taped it together here, and I'm now going to put it together with these little brad nails that are in a staple gun, and then I'll show you what's next. All right, so then we got this 1/8 inch plywood. I mean, it's rough, but it's going to be covered with fiberglass and painted black, and that'll provide a flat surface for the little corners of the CIGS panel to adhere to the top of the roof box. Then I have a roof box that is also a solar panel. There they are, in place. Look a little funky right now. I don't know. They'll be on top of the car anyway. I don't think it's gonna matter. There you have it. Next, fiberglassing. All right, here we are, taped up. I got them tacked with this E6000 glue, just like on the top and maybe a little bit on the bottom down there, just so they're gonna stay in place. And then I think I'm gonna do it tomorrow or the next day, is do the fiberglassing. All right, here we are. Once again, the little wedgie platforms for the solar panel are fiberglassed, sanded, cleaned, ready for a little Rust-Oleum black paint. All right, friends, here we are in the white resin suit, and as you can see here, I've put the resin on the top of the box, and I tried putting the sheet on top of it, but since it's still kind of wet, it was like sliding around, and it was kind of, yeah, not good. So if even with putting the bricks on top of it, it seemed to not be happening. So I am doing the exciting thing of waiting a little while until this epoxy gets a little tacky, and then I will assemble. But right here I've just got the thin strips, the 2-inch strips of this stuff that I needed to make up for the width that I needed. I just have them down, just sort of to experiment and to decide when this is getting tacky. That's what we're doing back here in the present moment. Whew. I don't know why, but working with epoxy is always kind of a little bit adrenaline inducing for me, because it's like, it's drying and it's sticky and it's toxic and you gotta wear these funny suits. Whew. Anyway, this is what we have. Check that out. So lots of cinder blocks. So from this we're learning that the Packasport roof box can take some weight. It's good to know. It's good for snow load. So down here we're just looking at, hoping it's like really attached. Oops, because we want that stuff to be really on the roof, because we don't want the wind sneaking underneath this thing and you know, tearing it off. That would be less than ideal and kind of frightening and dangerous for anyone driving on the road behind me. So yeah, I've got all the edges tacked down with all the bricks, and it's just kind of a waiting game now, I guess, and we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it's good. I also got some so on top of this I have a peel and stick solar panel from Bouge-RV. It's their Yuma CIGS, C-I-G-S 200 watt panel, and it's got the sticky back on it, so it has this super sticky tape. So I'm going to stick that super sticky tape stuff to this stuff that I'm putting on here, and then around the edge, especially on the windward edge up here, I'm going to have some of this Eternabond tape, which people seem to think is the goods, and that'll keep the wind from sneaking underneath, and it'll just seal it down, and there will still be an air gap underneath most of the panel. This front part here will not have a gap underneath it, just because yeah, difficult to put weights on that and clamp it so that the epoxy would stick. So I decided to just go back that far. There you have it.
I don't know if you guys can see in there, but there's the acrylic material, and then the roof box lid, and then the cinder block brick stack begins there, because you got to keep this edge down. This is the windward edge, and so I've got this pretty big stack of cinder blocks on the front to really keep that edge down.
One pair of pants later.
Hello and good morning, friends. Here we are. It is the next day, and it's time to remove the cinder block press from the acrylic board and see how the epoxy bond came out. Very exciting. It is very well adhered. Seems to have worked flawlessly. I'm stoked. So yeah, next step is going to be to prep and sand, peel off this protective plastic layer here, and sand this down, and then clean it and get it prepped for the VHB tape. There it is, 99% isopropyl soft rag. old bed sheet. Works just fine. Generous helping, and then wipe it down. All right, we got the solar panel out of the box. Here's the user's manual from Bouge RV. And there is the question, how do I need to install this solar panel? I think it says pretty plainly, tear off the protective tape behind the solar panel and then stick the solar panel to the ground. Stick it on the ground. All right, friends, looks like it's done. It's down. It's got a couple, this is where the board kind of ends there, and it's not sticking great, but a little bit of a pooch there, but that's what it looks like. 200 watt CIGS solar panel installed with a little air gap underneath. Should be pretty good. Now it's time for the Eternabond tape. The Eternabond tape will be going down the sides and sealing it down further, especially on this leading edge, because we don't want that popping up in the wind. Okay. All right, I'm working with the Eternabond tape right now. This is 4-inch wide tape, but I just marked it with a pen and a straight edge, and then use this utility knife to cut it. It seems to be working. And as is true with working with most tape, is if you can round off the corners, it's probably going to be able to stick a little better, and the corners won't get picked up quite as easily. So yeah, round the corners. All right, team, here it is, the finished product. It looks a little funky in a couple spots. This is where it comes off of it comes from the acrylic panel down onto the surface of the roof box itself, and so that transition is like a little funky. A bit of a big bubble there, but you know, she's taped down all around. There you have it. And there's a little bit of a bubble there in the middle, but not bad. And yeah, sealed all the way down the sides with that Eternabond tape. And there's the windward edge. Yeah, there it is, in all of its warbliness.
One debt to society later.
All right, top of the morning once again, my friends. So I put the roof boxes on yesterday with some help from my friend Jerry, who came over, and there it is, solar panel on the roof. A couple of things that I had to do to make this work right is see this, like, I don't know if you can see that. This little bump here was going to rub against the bottom of the fiberglass box, so I had to fatten up the bars with 2 layers of this kind of thin-walled black PVC piping that I cut down the middle and then slotted on here and then taped them on. So raising it a little bit, and then this nubbin here would no longer rub on the underside of the box. That worked out pretty well. And then I wired it into the solar cables through the gland and then down into the camper. And that's how it looks. Kind of a little bit wild looking. I don't know. It's kind of cool though. Doesn't really matter. It's really honestly not so much about looks with this camper build as it is about function, which is kind of what I'm into. I want things to be functional. Unfortunately, the solar panel is 24 to 27 volts is what comes out of it. It's 200 watts at 24 volts. And it looks like the old AC 200p does not accept solar unless it's 35 volts. So input from our panel is registering here at 28. So that needs to be above 35 for the AC 200p to properly charge. So it's getting sun up there as the sun has risen this morning, as it often does. And we can see no activity here. So that's troubling. Go to the data. DC input is set to photovoltaic PV solar panel. And so that's what we got. So not sure what to do. I have to either figure out a way to increase the voltage of that panel, which I don't think I can do that. The way to do that would be to add another solar panel and attach it in series, I believe. And then that would increase the voltage of the whole array. But then I hadn't planned to put another solar panel up there. I just wanted to do the one. Then the other question is, can I increase or can I decrease the voltage requirement on the Blue Eddy AC200P? And if I can't, then it looks like I might have to sell this thing at a bargain basement price and get a different power station that has lower voltage requirements. But you know, just one more challenge in the process. But it's you know, just gotta take those on one step at a time. Keep moving forward. So with that, I think I will end the video here, sitting in the unfinished interior of the FireTruck camper. The bench build will be coming next, which is going to be cool and functional once again. Maybe not, you know, it's not. I don't know. I think it's beautiful in here, but also it's going to be a very functional space indeed. That's the vision. So thanks so much for tuning in for another episode of the FireTruck camper build. Look forward to sharing more. Have a blast, whatever you're doing. Enjoy your moments, and I'll see you soon. Okay, ciao, ciao, pescao.